Another episode of A Wonderful Chaos.
Here we are, Bambos.
Starring Liya.
Liya. We are on today with Liya Wan. Liya Wan is an interesting person, especially because she's your former girlfriend's mother.
Yeah.
We have to specify that before. So we're going to have a big discussion around why Bambos wasn't the one. That's where we're going to start this discussion. And we're going to discuss it. I had a fascinating talk with Liya. We're going to discuss creating a gratitude economy which complements or replaces potentially the economy we're now living on. And we're going to do that on
A Wonderful Chaos.
Bambos just corrected me. I pointed straight ahead, and he said, "Andy, the camera's in front of you.
You missed the camera, Andy.
If you want to point at the camera, because otherwise no one will see what you're doing." So, you didn't sleep last night, you said?
I am with 2 hours of sleep.
Really? It was only 2 hours? Yeah. And you don't equate it to anything specific, you said? You didn't have any caffeine?
Not yesterday. Yesterday I was caffeine free.
Okay.
Just felt a lot of energy in my body. Oh. Like I could have got up and gone for a run, but in the morning when I slept in, my sleeping was 7 a.m. I just couldn't shut any eyes. So here we are.
And did you feel, I mean, our session yesterday was quite unique. Did the energy come up for you from that session, or was it just, I mean, I know you do that a lot, but was there anything in that?
You know what? I couldn't place it anywhere. Okay. Like I journaled, and there was nothing concrete coming up. So it was more like, okay, this time I need to just surrender and not try to analyze it.
Yeah, I know there was a time in my life when I couldn't sleep. I'd get frustrated in bed that I couldn't sleep, and then there was a time, and it shifted and never went back. I was like, oh, I'm using this time almost as a meditation, and then it felt really nice.
Oh, I did put on my YouTube affirmation thing, and I was hoping it would knock me out.
Oh yeah.
I listened to your book.
Did that make you sleep?
That thing woke me up.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. What chapter are you on?
Oh God, Andy, I'm lying in bed. I just let it roll.
Oh, okay. Nice. And you're listening to me put you to sleep, like your dad reading you a story. That's beautiful.
Didn't work, Dad.
No. Well, that's good. That means it's interesting enough that you got to concentrate, right? That's a good sign. Liya. So I had a talk.
She's in Hong Kong right now, right?
No, I think she's in Beijing. We'll ask, but she's in Beijing. It actually was very difficult to get her on. And I wasn't even thinking we'd get her on because she had to go through several like loopy loops to get to us. She had to go through a wireless LAN that kind of gave us a network out of China because, everything is very strict there. So,
yeah.
So we sort of had to get a...
Can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Come a bit closer because it feels like you're always leaving the screen. Yes.
Yeah. I'm always leaving you.
So she had to go through a lot of loops in order to be with us because of
all the restrictions on the data going out of China.
Wow.
And so she figured out how to make it work. She had an IT specialist come in, and she created a VPN, private network. So now we got access. And when I first met Liya, it's always hard for me to say it because for the first week, I was saying Liya, and I made that bad joke before we started. I won't repeat it because Ronnie hates it.
It's really a bad joke.
And so when I talked to her, I was really fascinated because as we evolve and the economy and how we view the economy changes, right? It's a progressive thing. But as I've talked to individuals, of course, the idea of cryptocurrency, that's entered our psyche.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's been now, but I don't know, let's say 5-6 years ago, the idea that you would have a virtual currency that wasn't based on anything outside of computers generating a virtual gold mine. I mean, that whole idea, think about how way out that would be. And now it's considered normal, relativized.
Yeah.
And so we now see that society is evolving its understanding of how economies work. It isn't just what we always were grown up with since the Industrial Revolution. So
I mean, with that.
Yeah, with that. And Liya, when we spoke, started to share with me an app that she had developed in China, which fascinated the hell out of me, because it was counter to so many traditional understandings I had about how economies work. And because it was so fascinating to me, I thought, let's get her on the show to discuss it. And just to summarize quickly, basically, she's created an app which gives individuals an opportunity, 5,000 at the moment, in China to interact with one another and to basically share what we would call higher vibration frequency. And what that would look like, we'll discuss with her. But what in actuality, what it ends up in is that people are basically saying and inviting others to support them in different ways with gratitude. Say, in this vibration of gratitude, like, hey, I need socks. And then the system and people in the system, you give to the system, you give support, and you support through your higher vibration frequency. And then other people reward that back with different things. Needs, actual needs that you do have, not just virtual or psychologicals. And that was it. And I thought that would be a nice thing to have her on to discuss. What goes on with you when I say all this?
Oh, I have my question ready. I'm about to tap your leg.
Oh, nice. I love it. So I say we bring her on then. Liya Wan from Beijing.
Are you in Beijing right now?
Are you in Beijing?
Yes. Hi.
Hello.
I'm now in Beijing.
Nice.
Yes.
So my first question to you is, how was it for you to think that Bambos might be your son-in-law?
That will be fun.
She's moved on since Bambos, but he made a good effort, but it just didn't work out.
It just didn't work out.
You had a question to start with.
Yeah, like getting to know you through Jennifer. Also, I always admired that you were always creating things to make a difference in the world, and one of your projects is this app. And I'm wondering, how was this born?
Mm-hmm. How that was born?
How did you give birth to this amazing app? Yeah.
Actually, we have a group of partners that we work together, that we already been suffered so many. It's been, I think, many people been suffering from this system of business, commercial, and those a lot of inadequacy, the kind of feeling of not enough, right? So I think that's the source of creating poor people. Actually, poor people is not just about lack of food or clothing or these accommodations. It's that people among each other, they don't have love to each other, and they feel always, no matter how much they already have, people always feeling that something is not enough. So this is so makes those wise people been discussing, and what is the ultimate destiny of human being. So where we should go. So if those material things is not the ultimate solution, or getting more money or more rich is not the solution, then what it can be. So that's why we explore. And then we've been doing the last year we had done the practice in rural villages with healing those cancer people for free with our app. So we have already done a lot of research and also practice.
Let's slow down quickly, yeah? So,
yes.
Because you did discuss this with me at the table. We haven't, for those listening who don't know anything about this. So explain to the listeners, you have a project where there's people that are in rural areas that have cancer, and you are trying to figure out a way, or you figured out a way to give them, what do we call it? What would we say?
Mutual blessing. Mutual blessing.
Mutual blessing.
Yes.
So tell us about that project.
I like your words about you mentioned gratitude economy. I think that is a beautiful word. I like this. So it's a very accurate to describe, because I should say, when people they have sickness, or they have problems with their health or whatever, wealth, there's something behind that is not just what you see.
Yeah. So
I think many people already know that.
I'd love to talk on one of the subjects. You mentioned something that it's a phenomena that I know, and it's so obvious, and yet I think most people are totally blind to it. And it's the following: is that once we achieve the thing that we actually set out to achieve 5 years prior, and then once we've achieved that thing, we feel like we haven't done enough. And then all of a sudden, you have to set a new goal. You have to set a new vision for what you're going to do. And then you live in this constant hamster wheel of, I'm not good enough. I need to do more. So I had my mentor was Case, and his wife owns a restaurant in Amsterdam. And he asked her once, what would make you happy? And she said, if I owned a restaurant. So all of a sudden he says, okay, I buy you a restaurant. And then she gets that restaurant. And then he says, what would make you happier or happy now? And she says, a bigger restaurant. Because now we've gotten here. Now I need to have that other restaurant. So it immediately, although everything was great, she had more money than she'd ever need. She was totally running a great place. Her mind immediately went to, it needs to be more. And I see that as so indoctrinated in the brain that it's almost like you need to have a spiritual awakening to see that that's driving your behavior.
You said
Correct.
the word spiritual.
Yeah.
Spiritual awakening. Okay.
And I mean, spiritual awakening, I use the word spiritual. It's I would say you need to have an awakening of yourself to see that behavior might not serve you. I've often asked Ronnie, how much money would make you happy? Like, how much do you need to relax?
Ronnie is his wife.
And every time I say, okay, well, if it was 10 million, if it was 20 million, if it was 100 million, like every time I add on, I can see that there's something in her that thinks if I have this, then there'd always be a little bit more that would make us more comfortable. And I'm laughing, thinking to myself, all I need is like a shirt, a bed, and some food. And that's kind of it. Everything else is icing on the cake. So when you speak, I hear very much a shift in how people see and understand their relationship, not only with money, but their entire lives, what they should expect or can expect from their lives.
We can actually expect a lot more from our lives when we put away this money thing. Actually, money should be like a servant to our life, like to help us to get better, to be more happier. But in fact, it didn't realize what we need. So that's why we need to find out the truth. So we are doing the experiment to see, because actually when we talk about things on the material level, there's always limited, so there are always not enough things. But when we go up to a higher level, that we will find those invisible, like the air, the sunlight, and all these things. This is all vital, so important to our life. But the beauty of it is they are unlimited, right?
Yeah.
But what's something wrong with the human mind that they always focus on something that is not vital to their life?
It's fascinating.
They will just, so that's crazy, This is crazy.
Yeah. It's like what I don't have becomes the thing that I spend all my time and energy on without looking at the gratitude of what I have.
So I always ask somebody as a joke. I say, okay, if I invite you to my my house or my office, I should say, okay, I will treat you with tea, all kinds of biscuits or cookies. What about if I don't give you air? But the air is free, right? So, but I cannot charge you for the air. I can only charge you for the coffee or the tea. So that's very interesting, you know. So every restaurant will only charge you for tea or food, but they don't never charge you for air or the good air or good environment.
Yeah. Or think about how water changed, because in the 1980s, no one drank water from a plastic bottle. So it only happened in the 80s that all of a sudden water that was basically free was just being filled up in taps and said, hey, we're going to sell you the same thing you'd otherwise get for free.
Yeah, with a nice label.
Yeah.
So when we discovered the secret of life is that nobody will charge you for things that is precious or beauty. So the most important things, nobody will charge you. For example, love, for example, air, sunlight, good environment. So then if you awaken for this, you will find that you are already the most happy person in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to awake people to tell them, okay, all we are suffering is actually is a illusion. It's not real.
Yeah, but the problem is, I totally agree. And you have like a massive percentage of individuals living on the planet that don't have enough money to even eat or to live in comfort. And so it's like such an interesting paradox, because in a way, for us to say, hey, this is what you need, I'm very aware it's coming from a perspective of a person who's got a lot of privilege in their lives. So I know what it would look like, but I also have to really be honest and say, but hey, I'm actually able to say that because I've already got everything that I would need. But for those that don't even have what they need, you know, then
so we need to create a different game.
Yes, that's the point.
So what is a different game? Is that we should put all those not valuable, and I cannot say it's things without value. I should say it's much less value things to be the carrier, for those precious things. For example, if you need the socks, if you buy it, then somebody will sell it. So there's A and B, right? A buy and B sells, right?
Yeah.
This is a relationship between these two parties.
Yeah.
But what about we change it to another relationship? Say somebody A needs a pair of socks, and then B, C, D, E, F, G, and more and more people, they group their money to bless this person who needs the socks. And the person, when he gets the socks, then every day he wears the socks, and then he can feel the love and feel the feelings that is more than just a sock. You understand me?
You know, I agree, and I can share an experience. When I want something, I just buy it. I just get it, just because I have the luxury of being able to afford the things I need usually. But when the iPad came out many years ago, my family bought me an iPad for my birthday. Mm-hmm. And that iPad I cherish far more than any of the other things that I ever bought for myself. And
that's it.
And there's a love and a gratitude that I feel always when I see it and experience it, which is far different than anything I've ever bought myself.
Also your canoe boat, right?
Yes, my canoe boat.
Yes. So we shift to the topic about consciousness. So when you think about the iPad, you will think about so many people and the love. But what about if you bought it, you buy it from a shop, and then you got the discount, and then you whatever, you know, and then in your mind you always in this, how to say, this impression will pop up every time you touch your iPad.
Yeah,
some image will come out. Do you agree?
Association.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Your memory. your
Yeah, you know, I've anchored a positive memory to that iPad.
Yes. So if you then all this money thing will come into your mind. Oh, I'm happy because I got 40% off, you know, and then I have friends, somebody give me a special discount, whatever. But what about you think about when you touch the iPad, you say, oh, my loved ones and all my friends, all their love is in that iPad, you know.
Yeah.
It's not just an iPad, you know.
Yeah, so and I totally see that way of living, in that gratitude, people giving and then receiving the gratitude is the healthiest way to be in the world, right? That's just.
So try to imagine in your home, everything in your house, everything, not just one iPad, it's everything. Even the cereals you're eating, you know, the breakfast, and then your furnitures, everything, the carriers of all kinds of love from the world, everybody in the world, so many people love on these things. Then you are overwhelming with love and different kind of energy, you know. Can you imagine?
Without a doubt. But then you get to like economic theory, and then I can even hear people listening saying to themselves, but what happens to the lazy people that aren't doing anything, and then they get everything? It almost sounds like, and I just use this it sounds like communism when you talk, like everyone can get whatever they want, or you know. So how do you distinguish between what you're speaking to and some like other economic?
The first thing, the key thing is that everybody should learn how to give first.
I think that was a prerequisite of being part of this community, right?
Yeah.
You need to first
give.
The
game is that if you want to start a game, you should give first.
Interesting.
You're calling this application a game.
You can say it's a game. Everything is a game.
Yeah. It's an app or a game, but I mean, in a way, you're not. And this is important. I'm sure this is important because you're also in China. You are certainly not creating anything that would compete against the current economic state of what, you know, how the economy functions. You have no intent of touching.
Okay, let's think in this way.
Yeah.
First, if you need the socks, so the provider, a supplier, for example, like a factory, they will produce, right?
Yeah.
So whoever pays, they don't care. Whether Andy pays or Bambos pay, or 100 people group their money to pay.
Yeah.
The manufacturer gets the same money, right?
Exactly.
But those consumers, they don't need to think about, oh, I have no money, I shouldn't have these socks, oh, I shouldn't eat. I just say, if I need something, I just go ahead for it. Because the first action I need to do is I give first. So it's actually a different circulation, you know. So the economy's process is just the transaction is completed by different people. And it activates the whole economy because the consumers will never have the worry about not having enough money to get anything.
So Bambos says to me he wants socks. He doesn't say to me, he says to the universe, he wants socks. And I say, I'm going to give Bambos socks.
No, he should say to the app.
He says to the app, but I mean, I'm the other person on the
app. I want blue socks from Adidas.
Yes, he wants blue Adidas socks. So I get him, or we source it as a group to him, and then so I give first, and
I give first.
Well, you ask first, and then I give you.
No.
Oh, you're right. You would have had to give.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's another more interesting things in our app is that we started not from socks. We start from health. You know, first you have to be a person who is healthy.
Really?
You must be healthy.
What if you're unhealthy?
We have a culture in China. Let me introduce a little bit. It's actually everything is a culture, you know, about the Eastern culture, about the 24 solar terms. Did I ever mention to you?
No.
Okay. So actually, we will separate in 1 year into 24 sections.
Okay.
Okay. So every section we have different energy with the universe that is taking care of human being on Earth, because we have very exact calculations about how this solar, the solar, we actually living in the solar in a part of the universe, okay, which influenced by the solar with the sun. So our health actually day and night, we have 24 hours in 1 day. Every hour is also one section, and every section we also have different energies, and these energies will deeply influence our health. Do you agree?
I mean,
For example,
I don't know, do
in the
agree or
morning,
disagree. I'm overwhelmed. I see a fractal as you speak. I see 24 to 12 to the. It's almost like behind you. You have this beautiful thing.
Okay,
It looks
let
the
me
same.
explain a little bit more. So actually, the best health care is not by hospital, not by medicines, it's by nature. Okay.
Sure.
So we need to learn more about the nature, so that we have the 5 elements in China. So the wood, the earth, the metals, the water, and we have the I Ching. Okay, you heard about that? Okay, these are all our cultures that telling us that if you want to live on Earth as a human being, you want to be healthy. We have a total, system of how to take care of ourselves. So we just need to learn and follow. But it's hard for for nowadays people to learn anything about that. So difficult. So we just create an app. If you input your birthday, then we'll just tell you, okay, what you should consume. For example, Bumble say, I want to go to Mediterranean Sea, okay, to have some pictures, whatever. Maybe then the app will tell you, oh, according to your birthday, it's not the time for you to go there. If you want to go to the south, they said, oh, you are somebody that need to stay in the north, so that it's better for your health. And then when you want to buy socks, then they will say what color I should pick. Then the app will instruct you, say, oh, according to your birthday, bamboo, you should take black color, which is the energy is good for you. You understand?
Wow. So this system goes way beyond just gratitude. It goes into
astrology.
Yeah.
So
it sounds a little bit like you have a science.
Give you a short.
Oh.
The Chinese, give us a second. The Chinese are trying to break into our connection.
Okay.
The government, and we're back.
Okay, let me give you a exact word. Okay, for that. Okay, it's called LASTBS. Okay, LASTBS. It stands for
that's kind of
location.
funny because in English, that isn't. We would never say it that way because it's not. It doesn't. It does the acronym BS. It has a different meaning. So whenever we do this, we're going to change it for the American market.
Okay. Anyway, just
continue.
Your humor is not having an impact here.
I love it.
Okay, the location-based service. Everyone is very familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, so we call it LBS. So now we have a new term we call LASTBS, called location and solar term based service.
Oh wow.
You can check on Baidu, you can search this word explanation. We already registered on that.
And I mean, it's sort of fascinating because as I hear you speak, it's you're really saying it's a way of life. You certainly don't call this a religion. That this is not a religion on any level as far as you're concerned. Would you say, would you also refer to it in any way as being spiritual, or you'd say no, even that isn't a reference you'd make?
No, it's nothing to do with spiritual thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we need to how to say, it's a human civilization that we need to upgrade, and we need to transcend all the religion. It means that it's over religion. It's because of health and love, all these things that everybody, there's no boundaries. I think there's no boundary between countries and countries, or all kinds of religions, because everyone is a need for human being. So we need to create something that is beyond religion.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Liya, what kind of people did you have to bring in to create this project? Because it sounds like quantum scientist, it sounds like an I Ching master, it sounds like an astrologist. Like, what kind of backgrounds did the people have? If that would be applicable in any way.
Actually, we are now we're starting with helping poor people, because poor people, they don't have money, but they have time. They have life. So because we already mentioned just now, it's not about not on the material level. It's more than, it's over to life and energy, on the energy level, because everybody is a carrier for energy. Do you agree?
Yeah.
If we can tune this energy to cope with the universe, to make it more harmony with nature, then this person will become a healthy person. And this is most precious. When people awake, they will find that health is the most important. If they don't have health, what they can have, even they become billionaire, is meaningless, right? Especially when the virus is so serious now. You cannot exchange your health with money.
Yeah. And you say that you're focused on the people that are already in poverty. And how is that? Like, what do you do specifically to support them?
Okay. You see, when, I don't know whether you believe, if you have something, for example, like a nutrition or medicine, this medicine is blessed by 10,000 people. When you take this medicine, it will be effective. Even the water, if it is cursed, if the water is cursed by 10,000 people, you drink it, it's a poison. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So if you can realize, you can recognize that curse, the power of curse, is harmful, then on the opposite, you can also recognize that blessing is helpful to everyone, right? Because it opens your heart, it removes all the negative energy in your body.
Yeah.
So actually, our app, I should say, is a prescription to sickness and disease.
I when I asked the question, I also had idea that you mentioned once to me that you were providing services for the people that had cancer in the rural areas. And I found that fascinating. And I was wondering if you could speak to that a little bit, because I remember that being quite a unique topic that I amazed me when we spoke.
Yes, we have a doctor in a village. Every village there's a doctor, but the doctor, they cannot heal cancer. But by providing our app and all these treatments, formulas, or these activities that we will provide to the doctor, then every doctor can heal cancer. That is people would look at it as a miracle, but actually it's just normal. And all the people will come from different places to group into that village to live together, and they chant, they go to pick up all these wild fruits and all this with nature, and then they just comfort each other, they help each other, they bless each other, and then they just recover in 3 months. So the app is actually a holistic. It's not just the app. It's a way of life. With the app, is a total, I should say, a holistic prescription of a medicine. It's like medicine on different level. So it's a holistic. It's a one group into one total prescription. It's not just one, not tablets. It's not about some kind of treatment. It's everything. You understand me?
Yeah. I mean, so this is what I find most fascinating, and what we're discussing right now is that when everyone says this industrial revolution economy is never going to continue, and then just because it can't be sustained based on how we've been running it till now with consumption, then all of a sudden the question is, and that's the first question anyone will ask you. So what do you propose? What do you propose? That's a very strong, hey, if this doesn't work, then come with a suggestion. And if I'm hearing you, I'm actually hearing you suggest an alternative way of being, and it's a different system, not just an economic system, but a holistic system of how one would live in a future world, for instance, or your world that you're creating today.
The existing system has its purpose, on some level. Okay, so it has no conflict with that. You realize that we are more than just that. Okay, we can be more open to receive a bigger area of the more possibilities of human being. That's it. So simple.
It almost sounds like it's powered by gratitude, like the collective gratitude.
Yes.
Bola Lang, who is one of our favorite listeners, is he's saying that the best things in life are free. So he is certainly at least agreeing with us that actually, I wanted to make some jokes because Bola Lang's coming on our show, and I know how perfect he is in his words, but I won't. But Bola Lang is certainly agreeing that, in essence, the best things in life are free.
I think freedom, there are different level. There are also different level. First things that material freedom. We say we have consciousness freedom, right? We also religion freedom. Everything you can be free, but on which level we are talking about?
Yeah, true. We have another question from Bola Lang, who says, is this about love as a currency?
Yes, why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Isn't it interesting how, if we look at how I look at Bambos, right? Bambos developed his business, and if I look at it, you created your business within the current economy, but I do feel like you worked through gratitude. Like, as I hear Liya speak and I look at how you've developed your own business, it's very much attuned to, I want people that are grateful for my services, and I don't want payment. I want gratitude for what they received. And if they're not grateful, you don't charge a lot of people. I mean, we've had discussions about people that are ungrateful.
We change it this way. We take Bambos as example, okay? Okay, Bambos is a very excellent photographer, okay? And I should say, okay, Andy, I would like you to take invite Bambos to take photos for Andy, okay? But Andy is not going to pay. But Andy is also I will invite all my friends to pay for Bambos, so that Bambos can take photograph for Andy. Is that a process? So we've changed the relationship from A, B become ABC. Okay.
I love it.
So we add one more dimension. So the dimension become more. You understand me?
Yeah, of course.
Before it's only 2 parties, but now we have 3 and more than 3 parties. So this is a totally different game.
I might have something to say there, though.
What's that?
Normally, if people receive a gift, a photo shoot, they invest less in themselves, in how they show up. So I would want Andy to pay.
Yeah, that's also, but that's not true, because the context you said.
But next time when Liya wants to have
the assumption being that I want the photo shoot to begin with.
Yeah.
Let's agree on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
So let me ask Andy, in this case, will you feel blessed or you feel gratitude with all these people who, when you look at your photos?
Yes. If I told the world I really want a photo shoot with Bambos, but I don't really want to pay for it, then, or I'd love it, I'd welcome it to be gifted to me. Let's say that, or I don't know what the words I would use, but I would then value that shoot far more than if I just paid for it. I think Bambos and I were having a discussion, is that if I didn't ask for it, that it wouldn't work, because we've seen that not work in our own lives. Yeah.
So, the point is not just pick it as a point to talk about. It's a whole, as a total weight of a different way of living, everyone becomes a group, a part of that, because Andy is a person, every day he's giving out, and then he receiving something back. That's normal, right? It's not somebody that is very selfish and then always asking, and then, just trying to get this. He's just every day. He's also for you. It's also a habit of giving out. Everyone has a habit of giving out, and it changes the economy to a different way.
Because everyone is actually giving instead of trying to hold on to.
Yeah.
Right.
As a collective. Beautiful.
Yeah, so I tried to explain it to my wife. She doesn't understand it, but I explained to her that in me giving, because I give a lot. I mean, half of the time I give, I often give for free. So Ronnie will get frustrated with me because she'll say, Andy, you need to be charging for those hours. And then I'll explain to her, half of the reason that all of my business works is because I give those hours for free. It's the gratitude that I see come back to me, and I live with that gratitude all the time. So I'm very familiar with it. I just see.
I should give you an example.
Yeah, please.
Those cancer patients, when we open the apps, because whatever he's taking, also nutritions, all this, whatever he's using, this is all done, completed by mutual blessing. So when we open the app to show the person, say this is 70,000 people, 70,000 times of blessing to you, so that you get that bottle of nutritions that he was taking, and then the person started to have a different feeling of opening the heart. He started to believe that there's unconditional love in the world, and then he got healed. And then he said, what can I do now? Can I also give out my blessing also? Then he started to change his way of behavior. This is the fact. This is truth.
Wow.
Yeah.
The power of belief also.
Because nobody believes there's an unconditional love in the world. If we provide a platform to let people to feel it, and then these 5,000 can group together to make the game turn, to move on. And then more and more people will join in. More and more people join.
When I did the book tour, and I sat with many groups, and I remember in San Francisco there was this young kid, very focused on business, and she said to me, why are you doing this? Like, she was very challenging. Like, there has to be a profit motive for you to go and spend all these months and sit with these groups. And I looked at her, and it was really, really an honest, emotional moment. I said, because I love you. And I could see she was very confused, because in her mind, she still was in the mindset, there's something that has to be achieved and something that you have to get to. And there's something, you only do one thing so you can get to another place. And if it's just love, that's just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So when these people say, I have no money, I'm poor, we will tell them, you have love. You can give out, because you can never lose anything when you give out this love. And love is only will give more and more, and endless.
Yeah.
So
but they would say to you, you can only say that because you have money.
we don't need your money. We need your time and your blessing.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
we create a job. So this is the kind of job, a new job. It's called blesser,
Nice.
Blesser.
So they got paid by every day doing the pushing the button,
Yeah,
of
to bless.
giving out blessing.
It's almost like the like button in Facebook, where people are striving to get likes so that they feel like what they've created is valuable.
Yeah.
But you're
So
saying
we say this is also a labor work, It's also labor work, because you're using your finger every day to push the button.
yeah, a
That's
blesser.
just funny. Wow.
Interesting.
Liya.
Yes.
Will you marry me?
Pardon?
He asked if you'd marry him. He's looking at you and saying, maybe the mother was better than the daughter. That's what he's saying right now.
I'm too old for you.
Oh, wow.
Too wise also.
Yeah. Love it.
Thank you for your good invitation.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid I'm too old for you. And my goal, my next journey is to explore a different kind of.
I just got dumped on a show.
I
Andy.
did. You got dumped. Liya, you might be the first woman who's ever dumped Bambos. He has so many women chasing after him that I want to record this moment. I want to record this moment and play it over and over again.
No.
We should, would you invite? I will invite Bambos to go with me to another journey.
Yes.
Yes. Let's do it.
More interesting journey.
Actually,
there are so
many. Far more interesting journey, actually.
The journey of gratitude.
Of unlimitedness.
There's something you said earlier that we didn't spend time on, and the body, nature, energy, and how that mindset, I would almost call it from the Western perspective, that creates a healthier being. So we stay healthy because we're grounded, because we're not living in constant stress and anxiety and frustration. And obviously studies, it's only more recently, as crazy as it seems, it's only more recently that we've been saying, wow, stress is a killer, like cancer is a killer. In fact,
and we found the secret also. We found the secret. Gratitude actually is a detox of negative energy.
Yes.
Who is we?
I mean, all these people, crazy people, we create this game.
Oh yeah. Okay. We're kind of like, now we've become like when Donald Trump was on an interview yesterday. He said it's in books and manuals, and the interviewer said, "What books and manuals?" And then he didn't want to answer that question because there weren't any books and manuals. So you're saying that the people that are researching the app with you, the people you spend time with, you're finding that gratitude. I actually, in the same session I just mentioned earlier in San Francisco, I was asked by another person, what's the key to happiness? And I said, at first I didn't think, and I said, I don't know. I mean, I said, when I made a joke and said, if you find it out, tell me. But then about 2 seconds later, I said, oh, it's gratitude.
Yes.
And because I realized that once my mind is in a state of gratitude, like everything feels so light and everything is so bright, I guess. It's just, life is different in gratitude.
I've had a few weeks ago a really hard time finding gratitude because I was going through a very hard time. And then I'm thinking, how do you what's the first step you invite people into really feeling gratitude? Because you can tell people be grateful,
yeah,
and they can name it like a shopping list, but how do you get them to feel gratitude when their life is shit?
You know, when somebody is really sick, and then we can help them to get back to be healthy, to save their life. I think most of people, I cannot say everybody, at least a great percentage of people will have gratitude. And this gratitude will become a motivator for these people to give more for the rest of their life.
I'd like to stick with the question, if I may, and sit with another element of it. In it, Bambos and I, Liya, have been spending a lot of time talking about how different people operate in the world differently. Some people automatically go to what I don't have, and other people focus on what I do have. And we've even equated it a lot with mindset of a manager who is often thinking, I have scarcity of resources, and someone who's in a leadership role who usually thinks without limitations. It's just vision to a future that doesn't yet exist. And when I see gratitude, I've noticed in myself that if I'm in scarcity, gratitude is really hard to find.
Yeah, definitely.
So there is an aspect of gratitude which also has making peace first with everything that doesn't feel good inside of yourself, making peace, not celebrating it per se, but just making peace with it, so that all of a sudden the gratitude, I would almost say, emerges as opposed to is forced.
That's really well said, Andy.
Yeah, I don't believe, for instance, that people can be happy. I believe that happiness emerges when all the conditions exist for a person to be happy. So that you don't, otherwise it's just distraction. I go to an amusement park, I go to a movie, I go to a sports event. They're outside activities that, I'm filling up the hole in my soul with.
These are called stimulations.
Stimulations, yes.
Distractions.
Or distractions.
It's not real happiness.
So it's the emergence of something when everything is at peace. That's what I've seen. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what you're saying. You're saying, let's create a society where we make the conditions for this gratitude to emerge, where I would argue that today's society doesn't put those conditions in place. In fact, if anything, we put a need and a want that we need more and we need more and we need more. And we don't even know why we need more, but we've been programmed that way.
Yes, you're right. So we need to awake people from the prison.
Yeah.
That even though we know that we're going to another bigger prison, but still we need to awake more people. We have a human being has a lot of potentials.
Yes. And the potential, of course, from the moment they're born is limited by each belief they take, which forces them to think that something's not possible.
Right.
And that's the hardest thing, because as soon as one has so many beliefs, they don't even realize that those beliefs are hindering their ability to think. Then all of a sudden you almost need to go to a psychiatric ward for a few years and then come out and say, oh, now I see the world again in new eyes.
Yes. We can say revolutions are always needed in different ages, different times, but we also can turn it into a more interesting way that is just a game. We can say, oh, we create a different game. If you are tired of the
old game,
you may try. Maybe you can taste a little bit, see whether it fits you. That's it. And then maybe it will happen that way.
Well, I mean, what I take away from your discussion, which I find really beautiful, is that if you move your mindset to gratitude and you allow yourself to experience it as well, that'll immediately shift so much in your life that you'll notice that the things you need to consume are far less.
It's actually just like it's a different choice. If one can spend time to do those not gratitude,
Uh-huh.
or you just like taking away. You want to always take away, take things, And the other game is all give out. So it's actually, it will spend your same time. Time is the same. Why you have to choose a more miserable game instead of a more happy game?
Yeah,
That's
but sorry. Yeah,
some people like to be miserable, or else, or else life sucks when it's not miserable.
But I mean, I don't think people see an alternative. You're offering an alternative, which is what you're saying. This is what the app creates, is this alternative. But when people like you come into the world, the first thing that happens is society says you're crazy.
Yeah, everyone is crazy. It's just different.
Crazy.
Exactly. That's it. We agree on this for sure. But when we try to hold on, it's like even if I'm not happy, it's the not happy I know.
Uh-huh.
So
familiarity.
The familiarity, and we'll stay stuck because what you're proposing is a wholly different way of approaching life, and I don't understand anything of how that'll mean, because there's all the security. Even though I'm totally insecure, at least there's things I think I know.
And control.
And the idea of control, right? Which may or may not exist, of course.
It's like she's inviting people into a completely different paradigm.
Yeah, it's a different paradigm.
Your mind has to let go of everything it knows.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it.
Our whole life is just a fighting with our own brain, our mind. It's that we have to go beyond the limitation of our mind. That's it. Then you win the game. You win your own game.
I'm aware we don't have a lot of time left, Liya, but how did you? Because I'm assuming in order to step into this, you had to make a shift of your own. How did that come about?
How it can happen? You mean?
How did you make a shift in your own life to have this understanding?
Oh, then I experienced a lot of ups and downs, and I of course I discovered there are a lot of limitation and difficulties that created by mankind. So it's not necessary. I think when you awake, when you just let go of that, and they say, "Oh, I don't want to go in this direction. What about the other direction?" Then just do it. Make an experiment, and then find a group of people who have the same thinking with you. That's it.
Yeah, that's kind of like anyone can create their own movement if they have enough people that share values.
Yes.
And if you share the values, you'll see that a lot of the groups, that it's like a magnetism. I always find it like a wave and a wavelength. If you're very clear in your wavelength, then people will see it, understand you, and if they're attracted to it, you'll create a bigger movement quicker. And if you're not very clear and it's a little bit fuzzy, then it's harder to grow because people don't know what they're attaching to.
Yeah. And the first thing you need to do is to step out of your doors, to go out, not stay alone. And you need to be clear of what is in your mind. So you express clearly for those people, then they can understand you. And then they'll say, okay, I will do it with you.
Yeah.
That's
very understandable.
Yeah. So Bambos, don't stay at home. You should go out.
He goes out every day.
Actually, I work from home 8 hours a day, Andy.
Yeah,
I work 8 hours from home normally.
Yeah. But I mean, you go out every day.
Early morning.
Around
4:30, we have to come here.
Bambos is the most dedicated individual I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the most dedicated individual. And that's why it didn't work out between him and your daughter.
Bambos
you know that.
It looks like to me that Bambos is like is always like a revolutionist. There's something that for him, he's going to do something in the future.
Like a revolutionary.
I don't like authority, Andy always says.
Yeah, he hates authority.
Yeah.
Which I love, by the way. Which I really love. I love that quality.
No, I don't hate authority. I hate unconscious.
Yeah.
Or incongruent.
He doesn't like incongruent.
I could feel that there's something inside Bambos that he's going to, to explode,
Yeah, well, that beast has been let out, so thank God.
Maybe someday.
Oh yeah, that explosion. That's an explosion I would like. That's an explanation I'd like.
Oh, translate.
So when she says revolutionary, I'm using a lighter form of revolutionary. What I'm hearing Liya say is she's saying, and I'm summarizing, of course, she's saying that there's some strength in you that she feels when that comes out to its fullest capacity, that all of a sudden you could change the world in ways that she's also trying to change the world. That's what I've understood from her.
Yes.
Bumble sometimes in the past when we've spoken about him assumes it's a negative already, and that. So I'm just looking at him now as we speak. It's not that way. That's what I said.
No, I didn't. I didn't. Can I defend myself?
Yes, you can.
I didn't think so. Really.
That's an interesting talk.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you again.
Yes. Welcome to China.
Yes, it'll be nice to visit China at some point.
You mean Hong Kong?
No, she's in Beijing. She's in China.
Beijing. Right.
Yeah, Beijing.
Yeah. Anyway, in this life, you must visit China.
Yeah.
I'll let you know when I'm visiting.
Yes.
Yes, you are always welcome.
Thank you, Liya.
Thank you, Liya. Send you a hug. Yeah, we're over our hour now, so we'll say goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for your invitation.
Thank you. Bye.
I enjoyed the talk very much.
That was really nice. Thank you.
Also, yeah, she made a lot of effort to be with us, right?
Yeah, she did. She really did. I mean, she had to get an IT person in just to make sure this connection worked. Yeah.
There's one thing that we touched in the beginning.
Okay, what was that?
And you said something like, people, when they achieve something, they always look for the next thing.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see my own life. I have that, but it's because, it's coming from a different space. It's like, imagine I achieve health so then do I let my body go, or do I keep trying to find the next thing to take me to another level? Like innovating.
Okay, like let's say, there's that saying that's been spoken in 20 different ways. Like the goal is the journey.
The goal is the journey.
Yeah. So what you say, I completely understand, and I would say I agree with. And what I'd also say is that as soon as we feel like we need something outside of ourselves in order to feel grounded, or in order to feel like we're succeeding in life, then all of a sudden we've got caught in the rat race. So that's the reason why when you hear me speak, I'll often say, for instance, the new book is an experiment. It's an experiment. I'm putting a book into the world. I'm learning about myself, and maybe it goes to hell. Maybe no one buys it. Maybe it gets terrible reviews. It doesn't matter. Actually, the goal was the creation of the book. And I was grateful every day that I could create it and that I could do it and all of that. So if I said, I've got to have another book, if that was the drive, I would be losing connection with myself the whole way, because there'd always be a want of something that it doesn't yet exist.
But I have heard you say there will be another book.
Yeah, but hold on.
You're
but
not
follow
living
me there.
for that.
No. And follow me there. I didn't think there would be another book. And then all of a sudden it emerged. So the book didn't come out of a need to write another book. The book came out of oh my God, this is incredible. I feel it already. It's almost like it already is in my head. It just needs to be written.
And that book, guys, will be this show.
Yeah. A Wonderful Chaos. That's the book title.
We should co-write it.
Yeah. That would be nice.
Crazy.
Yeah, that would be fun.
How Andy experienced, how I experienced.
Yeah, part it'll probably be our journey on the show together. That'll be half of it. Yeah. It's beautiful. So yeah, that's what I think. I think a lot of times when people don't see the journey is the success. Like I often tell people when they start questioning their success, even we've had that discussion before.
Definitely.
And I see people saying, yeah, but I'm not there yet. I'm like, you actually in the process of always there. Like the success is the doing, not the getting there. Because once you get there, then you're going to say, oh, I got to get somewhere else anyway. So that's what we're speaking to earlier.
So the success is taking those steps in that moment, in the present moment. I'm going to do this now, and I'm doing it.
Well, I would say being connected to yourself and saying, I mean, you know, you're going to laugh. So I lived in Austria for 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And I was really lonely. And I wanted to create a community that wasn't in business, because I was so stuck in business all the time that I didn't want to spend all my time now talking about business when I was free. So I went to learn how to glide, a glider school, to learn how to fly a glider. Do you know this or not?
No.
So I went to go to a glider, and it was in this Wiener Neustadt or something. It was a horrible place. I think Hitler was born there. I'm pretty sure that was where he was born. and you could kind of tell he was born there. It was that depressing. So I spent 3 months learning how to fly a glider. I'm up in the air. I'm flying alone. I do it. I need one more flight, and then I get my license. And so now I'm looking around me. I like no one in the area. I realize I don't even want to be in any club that all these people belong to. And I said, if I take the next flight, then I'll feel some obligation to actually keep the license if I get it. So I left right before taking the last flight to get my proper license. And I felt such gratitude. And so the success was being present with the moment that this isn't what I want. I felt more success there than if I'd got the damn license and said, hey, look, I've got a license that I can fly. And that was the feeling. So that was the journey. And once I realized the journey wasn't serving me, I didn't get stuck in the idea that it was about a goal. And I believe that's real freedom. That's the real freedom.
Yeah, it feels like that when you speak.
Yeah. So
thank you, Andy.
Thank you,
today.
Thomas. It's great. Some of the people have chimed in that they enjoyed it as well. That's really nice. I don't even know who's on the show tomorrow, by the way. I keep not looking at our schedule, so that's
me neither.
It's
let's take a quick peek.
See if we can see and give a little intro to tomorrow's show.
A wonderful chaos.
Da 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 da. If you haven't already seen it, then please do check out the new podcast. It's on basically every podcast platform you would can imagine. If you say, "Hey Siri, play a Wonderful Chaos podcast," it'll come up.
So guys, tomorrow is episode 89.
No.
89, Leaving the Past Behind with Cass
Midgley.
Yeah, Midgley.
Cass Midgley edits the podcast. He actually created the song. So if you listen to the song, there's 10 voices, and all of those voices are Cass Midgley. And he had a great podcast called Everyone's Agnostic. I was on it. It had over 500,000 downloads. It was one of the top spiritual podcast genre, most downloaded podcasts. He one day said, "I'm over this shit. I'm out." And he just turned it off in a day. It was his whole life for 4 years. And he said 4 years. 4 years. And he said, "I'm not doing this anymore." And he ended it. And I wanted him on just to discuss that journey and what it felt like to leave what was something so important to him, just the past behind. So he's going to come on and discuss that. Cass Midgley tomorrow.
And we're going to do this, Andy, on
A Wonderful
House.
My house.
In Cyprus, it's house.
In the middle of the street.